All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at what is, without a doubt, one of the most important speeches in history. We're talking about the farewell sermon of the Prophet Muhammad, really a blueprint for all of humanity.
So, try to picture this. You've got thousands and thousands of people gathered at Mount Arafat. It's the final pilgrimage, and the Prophet begins to speak. He says these words, and you can just feel the air change. Everyone there knows, instantly, that this is different. This isn't just another talk. This is it. This is the final message.
And yeah, it was way more than just a speech. It was a final testament. You can think of it like a foundational charter of principles. It was delivered to this brand new community, laying out the core ethics that were meant to guide them, for all time.
So, where does he start? He begins by building the very pillars of what a just society should look like. And these aren't vague ideas. They're fundamental, super direct rules for how to create social and economic harmony.
And listen to how he does it. This is such a powerful analogy. He says your life and your property are as sacred as this day, in this month, in this city, the most sacred things they knew. By doing that, he's just locking in their absolute importance. The message couldn't be clearer. These things are off limits. They are inviolable.
And these weren't just abstract principles, they were meant for real, everyday life. For example, usury or interest was forbidden. Why? To stop people from exploiting each other financially. Next, all trusts had to be fulfilled. That's huge for social integrity, right? And then, and this was absolutely crucial for the time, the sermon states plainly that women have rights and commands that they be treated with kindness.
Okay, but maybe the most revolutionary part of the whole sermon is its declaration on human equality. Now, you really have to stop and think about how radical this was. We're talking 7th century Arabia. This was a world built entirely on who your tribe was, your lineage, your social status. This next part, it was about to turn that entire world completely upside down.
So, the sermon asks this really fundamental question. It's a question that's been at the center of human conflict forever, right? What really makes one person better than another? Is it their race, how much money they have, the family they were born into? The answer it gives just completely dismantles the whole social order of the day. The sermon is crystal clear. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab. A white person has no superiority over a black person, and just like that, all those external things people used to judge each other, they were suddenly meaningless.
So if your race and where you come from don't matter, what does? Well, the sermon gives us one single metric: taqwa. Now, what is that? It's this deep concept that includes righteousness, piety, basically a constant awareness of God. That becomes the one and only thing that gives a person honor.
And here's the full statement, just so powerful. The whole point, the big takeaway, is that the only thing that makes one person better than another is their character, their relationship with God. It's all about what's inside, not some label you can put on the outside.
But, saying all this revolutionary stuff is one thing. How do you make sure it actually lasts? Well, the sermon itself had this brilliant built-in mechanism to make sure it would be remembered and passed on forever.
And get this, he didn't just ask one time. He asked them 3 separate times. Think about that. The repetition wasn't for him. It was to really hammer the point home for every single person there. You are now a witness. You are officially a witness to this final testament.
And that's the key to how it was preserved. Every single person listening was given a job. They were charged with the responsibility of becoming a messenger themselves. The idea was that this sermon wasn't going to just stay on that mountain. No way. It was designed to be spread from one person to the next through all the generations to come.
And to help them, to guide them on this path, he told them he was leaving 2 things behind. 2 things that would make sure the community would never, ever lose its way.
And what were those 2 things? First, the Quran, the divine scripture, and second, his own personal example, what's known as the Sunnah. He promised that as long as they held on to those 2 sources, the path forward would always be clear. He then sealed the whole message with this declaration of finality. This wasn't just the end of a speech. It was framed as the completion of the entire prophetic mission. The blueprint was done, it was complete.
And so that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This sermon, it laid out this incredible vision for humanity, a vision built on the sanctity of life, on economic justice, and on a really radical kind of equality. So the question for you, for all of us, is this: How do these principles from over 1,400 years ago challenge the world that we live in right now? How do they stack up against the problems and the divisions we're still facing today?